The Alps hold a special place in the hearts of motorsport enthusiasts everywhere. High in the mountains above the holiday resorts of the French Riviera, the twisting alpine roads play host each year to the most famous motoring event in the world, the Monte Carlo Rally. Every January, hundreds of thousands of spectators brave snow and ice to watch the world's fastest rally cars and the most skillful drivers fighting to reach the Mediterranean in first place. The rally was always popular with British teams. It used to be dominated by Mini Coopers, driven by legendary names like Thiebaud Macadam, Rano Altonen and Paddy Hopkirk. But the Minis had victory taken away from them in 1966 because their headlights dipped and the British stayed away for 20 years. In 1986, Austin Rover are back with the all-British MG Metro 6R4. Austin Rover have been away from World Championship rallying for years. Their comeback with the Metro is part of a whole new image for the company. Speaking in 1984, competition director John Davenport explains.
International rallying is so important, it gets so much media coverage, that Austin Rover really can't afford to be out of it. And we decided, therefore, that we would build ourselves a new rally car, a purpose-built car to win rallies. It started in 1981, just after we finished with the TR8 program. And we sat down with Formula One team with whom we had connections, namely Williams Grand Prix Engineering, and knocked around all sorts of concepts based on production cars and came up with the idea of a four-wheel drive Metro. The first car actually ran around the yard here exactly a year ago, and the testing has gone very well, and we hope to be actually rallying the car within about 6 weeks.
As serious testing begins at Gaydon, rallying is already dominated by four-wheel drive cars, but the Metro is different. With no turbocharger, the Metro has no throttle lag and instant response. Tony Pond likes it.
The traction and the stopping power of the car is unbelievable, and even the handling in the corners is not unlike a conventional car once you get it set up. Everybody's got the traction, and everybody's got relatively good brakes with four-wheel drive, but I think we're better in the braking department, and we're certainly much better in the handling department.
So when it starts its competition life, is it really going to be competitive?
It must be.
It is. Despite having only 250 horsepower, Tony Pond dominates the York National Rally, easily beating everyone, until a minor electrical problem forces the fun to stop. Gwynedd Rally in February 1985, the car appears for the first time in the blue and white colors of computer vision and mobile. More important, it is fitted with its new aerodynamic wings, front and rear. The package really works, and Tony Pond cruises to an unchallenged victory. As Tony Pond and Rob Arthur enjoyed the celebrations, the Metro nears its final World Championship form.
Externally, you won't see a great deal of difference, except the car has become slightly more angular and aerodynamic. The wheels have gone up in size, and the wheelbase and track have been extended. But I think it's internally that the major revolution and change has come about, because it's now got its full 380 brake horsepower engine in it. And if you want to know what the details are of that, you really ought to talk to David Wood.
Well, it might be thought we were flying in the face of convention by going normally aspirated, but we feel we've got the right answer here. The engine is a 3-litre, 24-valve engine. In the form you see it here, it's producing 250 horsepower and is in fact a club engine. In the rally car that we actually rally from the works, it will be a 380 to 410 horsepower, depending on the rally. The simplicity of this route means that the car has less systems to go wrong, we have less heat problems, we have a good, strong torque, and very importantly, we have good engine braking.
We have learned a lot with the small engine. In fact, the V62V, the old engine, has been a terrific test bed, which is what it was designed for, and we've learned a lot from it. And it's gratifying to put the big engine in and find that what we learned still adds up.
So where do we go from here now, Tony?
Win some rallies.
Winning has to start on Scotland's Argyll Peninsula, where Pond has the full 400 horsepower to play with. For everyone involved in the project, this rally is vital. 2 years of endless testing have refined the chassis, the bodywork, the suspension, the engine, and the Michelin tyres. Tony Pond is expected to dominate the opposition here in Scotland. He does not let the team down. He wins the Argyll Stages Rally easily, but is the car fast enough to take on the world?
I think it was about 6 seconds a mile quicker than the quickest of the opposition, which is what we've got to do, really. I mean, they're the sort of times this car must do. And I should think it's got to be about 3 seconds a mile quicker than a Quattro. Before we'd be very happy. This week's been very good. It's done everything. I think the engine's run about 8 or 9 hours now, and I always over-rev it, so I'm pretty pleased with it.
Now the Austin Rover staff at Longbridge face a race of their own. 200 examples of the MG Metro 6R4 must be built to make the car legal for international rallies. As each car is finished, it's parked in a locked yard full of Metros, waiting the day when officials will arrive to count them. On the special production line, a pick team build each car working mainly by hand. Everything must be done precisely, for all 200 cars are destined to be rallied. These are not ordinary road cars and never will be. By November 1985, the Longbridge race is won. Now the motorsport team face their biggest challenge. The Lombard RAC Rally starts from Nottingham. The World Championship awaits. Joining Tony Pond in the number 10 car is his regular co-driver of many seasons, Rob Arthur, seen here with his battery of electronic navigation aids. Into the computer vision team comes Malcolm Wilson, winner of 3 recent British international rallies with his private Audi Quattro. The first day of the RAC rally, traffic jams and stately homes. Tony Pond and Malcolm Wilson are on the pace right from the start, even against the turbocharged supercars from Peugeot, Audi and Lancia.
Picking them to their car. Audi has got them on their car.
Will later retire, Pond actually holds second place for a while. He goes on to set fastest times on 9 of the special stages. John Davenport has every reason to be pleased, as he explains to Murray Walker.
They're both in the top 10. Tony's just ahead of Hannu Mikkola, and Hannu's won this rally more times than I've had hot breakfast, so he must be on the right pace.
Now, I know it's early days yet, but do you feel that the concept of the car and the non-turbo motor and all the rest of it is proving itself?
Well, I think it's difficult to say that it's proving itself in these early stages, but I think when we get in the forest we may find that we prove it a little bit more thoroughly.
I'm disappointed, but I'm very happy for the car. I mean, the car was perfect. We didn't lose 1 minute, 1 second through anything wrong with the car. In World Championship terms, the car is so reliable. If we can come up with this again and continue, I mean, it's going to get in the frame on every event.
After a superb third place overall on its World Championship debut, the Metro's next challenge begins in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Tony Pond and Malcolm Wilson start their 1986 World Championship campaign on the Monte Carlo Rally. Said to be the hardest rally to win because the special stages vary so much, from snow and ice to dry tarmac. Tony Pond's challenge ends early when an accident damages his steering, but Malcolm Wilson holds 8th place for many stages.
Well, we were quite pleased. I mean, the intention was to sort of get round the Monte and hopefully finish about, in the top 5. And I was quite pleased the way we were going, to think that Hanley was just in front of us and he's done the Monte for the last 14 years. I was quite pleased, really.
Mikkola finishes 3rd, behind Henry Toivonen and Timo Salonen, as the World Championship moves to Sweden, where the snow is at least consistent.
The car is so much easier and so much better to drive than the likes of the big Audi. And I think, for this event, it will suit the car better with its normally aspirated engine, braking, and this type of thing. So I think, really, it all bodes well for a good event.
This is how most people will remember the 1986 Rally of Portugal. In a tragic accident on the first loop of stages, spectators are killed by an out-of-control rally car. The top drivers decide to stop. Even brave men like Pond have no stomach for more of this.
I am not prepared to go on as a driver, irrespective. No way. Whatever.
What are you going to do then? You're going to tell the organisers?
Going into that control, and that's where I'm stopping. I've got my own conscience. I'm not prepared to drive between people at 120 miles an hour. Just no way. It's always been bad. You could have done the same damage with any car, but the cars are 400 horsepower plus. You know what I mean? And the margin of error. You make a tiny error, you're killing people. I just can't see. I can't see the logic in it.
Have you told your team manager that's what you're going to do?
No, I haven't had a chance to chat to him yet. But I've got my own conscience.
Got to be respected. Thank you, Jerry.
I'm sure that, Mr. John Davenport will agree with us. I've heard that Ford have withdrawn completely, so, they have to stop it.
Yeah.
And all the other drivers, Walter and Marker, were of the same opinion, so it's tragic. It had to happen. It's been going to happen for many years, and it's finally happened. And maybe someone will listen now.
Listen they do. After another accident in Corsica, the governing body of motorsport enacts sweeping changes. Group B cars, including the Metro, will be banned from rallying in 1987. This will be Austin Rover's only season of World Championship rallying. In Britain, the problems are altered to the National Breakdown Rally, where David Llewellyn surprises the establishment by fighting for the lead in his RED-prepared Metro. His chief rival, the wily Hannu Mikkola, bidding for his 4th win on this event with a 500-horsepower Audi Sport Quattro. Llewellyn ignores his 100-horsepower deficit and the chaos as snow threatens to stop the rally. He's just behind Mikkola.
Well, I think it's 12 or 15 seconds, but apparently there's one of the stages in the night's been cancelled where I took 19 seconds off him. So if that's correct, that puts us 30 seconds behind him, which is not so good.
Making his first appearance, Jimmy McRae in the Rothmans Metro. The battle between the Welshman and the Finn continues unabated.
The car's gone very well. We haven't had any problems at all, and I mean that honestly. We haven't had any problems except me knocking every corner off it, I think, on the snowbanks. And the conditions have been awful. You know, running on these sort of roads without spikes in the tyres is very difficult. But of course, this year is the strongest competition, I think, in the championship for many years. With, you know, sort of 4 manufacturers with the supercars in. So it'll be very difficult, and if we can get some good points on the board now, it'll be a good start.
Night falls, and the battle really intensifies. Michael Sundstrom crashes his Peugeot 205 Turbo 16 out of the lead. Llewellyn beats Mikkola by 26 seconds to take the lead before the last stage. Then Mikkola beats Llewellyn on the final stage by, yes, 26 seconds. So Mikkola wins the rally by 16 seconds. Everyone else finishes 9 minutes or more behind Llewellyn. With no snow and no Mikkola, Llewellyn starts the all-tarmac Circuit of Ireland totally confident. Jimmy McRae has won this event several times. He leads in the Rothmans Metro. The rally develops into a tussle between McRae and Llewellyn until the Scotsman suffers suspension failure and retires. David Llewellyn scores the first international rally victory for himself and for the Metro 6R4.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't ask you how you feel.
Over the moon, chuffed to bits. Fantastic feeling.
Well, what's it mean to you, this win?
Well, it's my first international win, and on such a classic event as this, it's just too good for words, really. And of course, it's the first international win for the Metro as well, so it's all good stuff.
Enjoy it while you can, David. The Welsh rally brings only bad luck. Although the strength of the Metro allows it to be driven away from this one, even with only 3 wheels working, the next roll finishes the job. With the cars shattered, Llewellyn must watch as his home rally is won by Mikkola, with McRae only 20 seconds behind. It's a real boost to Jimmy's confidence as the Open Championship moves to Scotland. Computer vision team appear in Scotland in search of rough road testing. A quirk in the international regulations forces Malcolm Wilson to start the rally down at number 17, where he's often to drive through the dust of slower cars, a fact which soon proves very important. Nevertheless, Wilson totally dominates the first half of this important European Championship rally. For a while, Metros even hold 4 of the first 5 places, with Wilson leading from Jimmy McRae.
We were doing this rally with Malcolm to try out all the things that we wanted for rallies like the Acropolis, which we decided not to do. And obviously we're very delighted. I mean, for Malcolm to be leading so convincingly from start to the halfway point, the car obviously goes very well, and we hardly put a spanner on it during the event. We had 1 or 2 minor brake problems where stones got in and attacked the braking system. But apart from that, the car has gone like a rocket the whole way.
This far from rocket-like performance by David Llewellyn spells trouble for the Metros. Even at this speed, the dust is incredible, and it's getting inside the Metro engine. Llewellyn retires soon after this, and he's joined on the casualty list by most of the other Metros.
Well, we have a loss of compression, which means, you know, the car doesn't run smoothly at low RPM, and it's only a matter of time. I mean, yes, you know, you could continue, but as I say, it's only a matter of time. With the experience that I've got, you know, you just know that the car will not last, and I think it's a sensible decision to sort of be able to strip the engine now and pinpoint. The problem with the likes of David's engine and Jimmy's and Harry Toivonen is that those engines are actually destroyed completely, and it's very difficult to diagnose a problem.
Over the water in Northern Ireland, there is no dust to trouble Jimmy McRae on the Ulster Rally. This short pace-note rally is a favourite with many drivers, and Jimmy simply can't be caught. He gives the Rothmans team their first international win with the Metro, and gives himself the chance of winning the 1986 British Championship.
We've posted our intentions often enough, but everything just came right in this event. The cars run faultless, and we've produced the goods, so very happy. We haven't worked out the points yet, but we can still win the championship. The car has been faultless, and we'll probably do some more testing before the Manx, and hopefully maybe even get it a bit quicker. Right, who's got the one?
Back on the World Championship scene, the teams are still coming to terms with the news that their expensive Group B supercars have only a few months left. For 1987, Group A touring cars must be used. Meanwhile, special stages will be shorter, and the really fast stages, like many of these here in Finland, are banned.
Forward is to rally on properly organised rallies with safe cars, and you don't do that just by taking some unilateral decision to rid yourself of Group B cars. You work with those cars that people have spent a lot of time and money developing for rallying, and you make them safe.
The Metro 6R4 is certainly a safe rally car, and Malcolm Wilson offers further evidence of its strength in Finland. Soon after this, he rolls his car quite heavily, but he's able to continue at much the same speed, even without all those wings and spoilers.
Came over a crest, and the car went a little too far sideways. One we went in the ditch on the rear, and it just pulled the car in and flipped it over. But the problem was the ditch was so deep that we couldn't get the car back across onto the track again, so the only way we could do it was to get out of the car and physically roll the thing back onto the road. We tried to drive out, but there's just no way. So unfortunately we did a lot more damage getting the car out than probably what would have been the actual accident, you see. But we're still going.
The car is gradually patched up as the rally goes on. Wilson sets many fast stage times and is able to climb back to 10th place at the finish. A fine performance under the circumstances. Douglas, Isle of Man, bathed in unseasonal sunshine for the start of the Manx Trophy, 6th and final round of the British Open Championship. Only one Metro driver can win the title, and Jimmy McRae must win the rally to achieve that. Leading the field away is Tony Pond, who lives on the island. McRae's many fans are not disappointed. He is fastest on the first special stage and soon pulls clear of everyone except Tony Pond. Tony makes full use of his local knowledge to take the lead, showing the difference in class between World Championship drivers and most of those seen on British events. Llewellyn recovers his form to hold third place in a Metro 1-2-3 as the crews return to Douglas halfway through the event.
true domination really today, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic car around here. It just seems to be made for the job.
Jimmy McRae looks set for his 4th British Championship when the cam belt suddenly breaks, putting his Metro out of the rally and handing the title to Mark Lovell. Llewellyn finishes 2nd on the max to give the Computer Vision Metro team a 1-2 result. Tony Pond is unstoppable, setting fastest times again and again. He speeds through one of the special chicanes which he helped to design to reduce speeds on the island roads. Back in Douglas, he reflects on his return to the winner's rostrum.
We've had no real dramas, nothing cost us any time, we had no real big problems. The car worked very well from stage 1, and it was just a case of the driver getting back in the swing of things, I think.
And the one disappointment, the failure for Jimmy.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest drama of the whole rally, really, that the championship seemed his, it seemed sewn up, we'd done the job, and then something silly, and that's it. But, that's rallying, unfortunately.
And this is World Championship rallying. The teams are gathered in Italy for the San Remo Rally, but Austin Rover Motorsport are here too. Tony Pond and Malcolm Wilson look forward to the Metro's final Pace Note rally. They face tough opposition from the full Lancia and Peugeot teams. Ahead lie the dusty stages of northern Italy. This is one of the hardest rallies in the calendar, with its unusual mixture of tarmac and gravel stages. Wilson is in his element, however, and finishes an amazing 4th overall. It is the best World Championship performance by a Metro outside Britain, and it was cruel luck that the results were later declared null and void for reasons which had nothing to do with the Austin Rover team. And what of Tony Pond? Let him explain.
Well, we just clipped a wall and broke the rear suspension. And it was a place where there was not a lot of service time, and we ran out of time, literally by a minute. Damage was fairly minimal, but it took quite a time because it was suspension links to repair it, and we just didn't have that time, so that's the way it goes. But the car's gone very well. It's been incredibly strong. Yesterday we had a very bad moment in the dust and hit a bump completely wrong, landed on the front lights, took all the front of the car off, and it stood it all, you know. Didn't even bend the suspension, which is incredible, because it was well over 100 miles an hour when it did it. I think the car's good on twisty, loose bits of road. I think you'll find, if you look at the examiner times, there's certain bits of road that it's particularly good on, and that's where it's twisty. Then we get onto the powerful long straights, and we're finished. RAC, I think, just attack, really, have a go.
But because the last rally
It's the last rally for the Metro, probably be the last rally for me, so I think I'd like to go and either go out in the trees or go out doing well.
Slightly faster now, up towards that difficult 90 right at the end of this long straight.
international career of the MG Metro 6R4 ends where it began, in the forests of the Lombard RAC Rally. And Tony Pond was again the leading Metro driver, this time in 6th place.
Less of power, but I think the car could have easily got itself into the first 3. Without the silly bothers that we had, I think a third place was definitely on the cards.
Tony, your last drive in a Group B car, any reflections or regrets or...?
Yeah, I have got a lot of regrets because I think our car is the way they probably all should have been. It's fairly safe, strong, it's not brimming with horsepower, 400 horsepower is easily handleable, and it's a lot of fun to drive.